We are on the brink of a mental health crisis, and this is why I am so appreciative of the folks over at BetterHelp. They provide the largest online counseling platform worldwide. They change the way people get help with facing life's challenges by providing convenient, discreet, and affordable access to licensed therapists. BetterHelp makes professional counseling available anytime, anywhere, through a computer, tablet, or smartphone. Sign up today. Go to BetterHelp.com and use the promo code SolvingHealthcare and get 10% off sign-up fees.
COVID has affected us all, and with all the negativity surrounding it, it's often hard to find the positive. One of the blessings it has given us is the opportunity to build an avenue for creating change, starting right here in our community, discussing topics that affect us most, such as racism in healthcare, maintaining a positive mindset, creating change, the importance of advocacy, and the many lessons we have all learned from COVID. If you or your organization are interested in speaking engagements, send a message to quadcast99@gmail.com, reach out on Facebook at Quadcast, or online at drkwadwo.ca.
Welcome to Solving Healthcare. I'm Kwadwo Kyeremanteng. I'm an ICU and palliative care physician here in Ottawa and the founder of Resource Optimization Network. We are on a mission to transform healthcare in Canada. I'm going to talk with physicians, nurses, administrators, patients and their families because inefficiencies, overwork, and overcrowding affects us all. I believe it's time for a better healthcare system that's more cost-effective, dignified, and just for everyone involved. Quadcast Nation, thought I would jump on, do a quick Minicast. Hope everyone's doing okay. I wanted to jump on because I've been feeling a bit inspired to talk about adversity, how to really foster that resilience muscle. You know, we talk a lot about wellness. We try and talk about practical tips, but there's some real life struggles people go through. I know I've seen a lot of colleagues recently lose their loved one, parent. You know, it's that time of life for, being middle-aged. But it's a tough time for a lot of people. And as I'm recording this, it's roughly 4 years since I lost my father. And this was a really challenging time of life back then. Back in August, September 2018, we just had a new baby, little Zeke. What's up, big guy? Who's now 4, which is insane. Our dog, little George Michael, passed away around that time. And also, we thought we were moving back to Alberta. We were, everything was lining up for a job in Alberta, and it was like going to be a homecoming. A lot of family were excited, and the job fell through last minute, which was devastating. And then on top of that, my dad passes away. And that was a really tough time. I look back at our family and we were mourning. We were just getting through day to day, but Kathy and I, it was a really tough time in our lives. And I must say, even when I look back at that time, especially when I look at my dad's death, I didn't really process that for weeks, even months, just because of all the hard things that were going on around us. And the reason I want to bring this up is because we got through it. And one of the tickets to that for me during these tough times is that reframe. Like, how do we make the most out of these really challenging times? And I think this is a tool that, you're not doing it the second something challenging or difficult happens. You go through a mourning period, you go through, you're down. But there is that ability to rise up and make the most of out of the situation. And I'll tell you, it really helped us move on. Like when I think back at not moving to Alberta, we thought we were losing out on that life that we wanted to create for our family and our kids, connecting with the family, like their extended family. And at the same time, we told ourselves, if we're in Ottawa, we're not going through this process again. Let's make the most out of it. Let's move into a community that's going to embrace us and feel like a community, which was amazing. We're moving out to McKellar Park area. Shout out to our Courtney. You guys are beasting. Like, what an amazing community. Street parties. People, when we moved in, people bringing in, all sorts of gifts and treats. It was just, it's a absolutely warm feeling, warm community that it was just been a great move for our family. We've got a great school there too. Shout out to Broadview. Great teachers, great having the boys being able to walk to school. All their friends are around that in that hood. And so we really created that community, that environment that we were seeking, moving out west. And I wouldn't take it back for anything. Seeing our boys on a day-to-day playing with their friends out on the streets, it's just a warm feeling. And when I look back at, career-wise, what happened, being shut out of things last minute, man, was that a driver for me. I was like, I'm going to show these, pardon the expression, MFs, what they lost out on, man. I'm going to hustle from a research perspective. I'm going to produce papers that are going to put us on the map. As part of the driver of showcasing some of our stuff was, setting up this show, and really being able to say, hey, people, look at the stuff that we're trying to create. And then ultimately becoming the department head of a critical care department. That was a huge driver saying, you know what? Screw you. You shut this down. Look what you're missing out on. And, I've maybe said this a few times on the show. I don't know how healthy it is to use that as a motivation, but man, I'm still waiting for that pretty woman moment where I get to say, like, look what you missed out on, sons of. I'm kidding. I love those colleagues. I love everybody. And lastly, when I think about my dad, when losing my dad, it was tough. We weren't very close, but you always ask yourself, what could have this relationship been like if we were closer? And it was a tough time, but some of the lessons or ability to reframe and develop that resilience was, losing my dad made me definitely a better doctor. Like I looked at everyone differently when they were experiencing loss. It's just a lot more present. I know what they were going through. I know what they were going to feel. And it just made me a lot more compassionate, a lot more present when I'm dealing with these end of life issues. And so this was a gift. Another gift my dad left me was, he was a really courageous man. He was always about justice. He was all about sticking up for those that can't stick up for themselves. And he wasn't afraid to voice his opinion against anybody. And I just often ask myself, what would Dad do here? What would Solomon do in this circumstance? And it really exercised that muscle of, you know what? Life is short. Stop giving a fuck about stupid shit. Stop giving a fuck, like nothing. So much of the things that we worry about, it doesn't matter, and I just use that as a tool to get out of my comfort zone, to advocate, to try and do the right thing. Like I look at, I look at the podcast. Like some people might say, you're doing a show, you probably love doing this. It's easy for you. I mean, you get used to it after a while, but it's not easy going on the mic and doing these things. But having that courage to get out of the comfort zone, that was certainly pushed by Dad, losing Dad. The advocacy was so much to do with losing my father. The idea that, go on national media, whatever, and talking about trying to have that COVID balance so that we can think about those that can't speak up for themselves. When I think about sticking up for the kids when school was closed and seeing the damage that was creating and getting the blowback, I was like, you know what? Dad wouldn't give a fuck. He would step up. I'm going to step up because this is what matters. Our values are in truth and in justice. Step up for those that can't speak for themselves and do the right thing. That was Dad. Creating bridges, helping create bridges over barriers for those that can't those that were struggling during the pandemic. That was Dad. Being a leader during a time of crisis. That was Dad. Putting your neck out there. Take the shit. Not giving a crap what people are saying about you. Being courageous. That came from losing my father. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you guys this because some good could come from adversity. Some good could come from that shitty feeling that you have right now or have experienced in your life. Using that reframe to create resilience within you is possible. Whether you're going through a tough time, whether you're a healthcare provider, burnt out, done with the profession, you can still contribute. You can find a way outside of, whether it's outside of healthcare, whether it's outside of the hospital walls, you can find that reframe. You're lonely, you've experienced loss. You could find that button that makes you connect with family and friends that you haven't done in a while. Pick up that phone. Send that text message. Actually, better yet, pick up that phone. Hear that voice. Anyway, I hope that's helpful for some. This one's dedicated to the old man for sure. All right, folks, peace.